Don't you get me into trouble with the new mayor?
We're going live.
We're live.
Good evening all. Welcome to the first planning committee of this civic year. I'd like to say a special mention to Councillor here. Oh, welcome onto this planning committee.
I wondered what I'd been there.
I thought you were a substitute.
No, I haven't started.
Okay, let's start with the first item on the agenda, which is item number 1, election of chair of this committee. Do we have any proposals? Councillor Arlett.
I'll propose you, Madam Mayor, if you are prepared to take the chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seconded?
Definitely.
Councillor, thank you. Okay, any other nominations?
Oh, we need the customary long speech.
No.
I
You've been great this year. You've been great.
think we had enough speeches yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I see no other nominations, so all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And the second item on the agenda is the election of the vice chair. Do you have any nominations? Councillor Gowshak.
I would like to reluctantly nominate Councillor Ken Arlett for the post of vice chair.
I'll reluctantly second.
Thank you, Councillor Brock.
And briefly,
Any other nominations? No, I see none. So all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Item number 3 is apologies for absence. Do we have any?
I'm not aware of any apologies.
No, okay, thank you. And item number 4, do we have any declarations of interest? No, I see none, thank you. And number 5, minutes. This is to approve the minutes of the planning committee held on the 19th of April, submitted by Councillor Plant. Sorry, yeah, I know what I mean. And seconded by Councillor Gavishak. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And next is number 6, public participation. Now we have a couple of members of the public in the audience, I see, in the public gallery. Would you wish to speak?
Later on, maybe.
If you want to speak to any item on this agenda, you do need to speak now during public participation.
Not on this agenda.
Okay, you're here for recreation amenity. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move on to number 7, which is appointment of subcommittees, their terms of reference and membership. To consider the appointment of the planning subcommittees, their membership and their terms of reference attached. Do we have any comments to make of membership either or terms of reference? Yes, Kath Adams.
I think we missed Sarah Candia of the Climate Emergency Working Group membership.
Okay. So, are you okay? Sorry, did you hear that?
Sarah, and then I lost the rest.
Okay, so would you like to repeat that, Kath?
I'd like to add Sarah Candia to the Climate Emergency 2030 Working Group membership.
Yeah, okay, so all those in favour? Thank you. Yes,
Sorry, just
Councillor
a comment. I'm the SLDC representative on transport strategy, not in the town council.
Okay, so we need to make that amendment as well. Okay, I need to put that to the vote again.
No, that's
No,
fine.
that's just the
I do have
admin.
the own.
Yeah,
And I think you've got Stefan as SLDC, but it's OCC, not SLDC.
no one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Councillor Villiers. Okay, next is item number 8, which is election of chair of the Neighbourhood Planning Committee. We have a proposal. Councillor Plant,
Nominate Councillor Arlett if he wishes to continue.
do you accept the nomination?
Hopefully it'll only be for a short time. I probably said that 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay, is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Clark, thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And item number 9 is election of the vice chair of the Neighbourhood Planning Committee. Yes, Councillor Arlett.
If Councillor Plant's prepared to stand up, those Councillor Plant.
Thank you. Is that seconded, councillor Clark? Thank you. Any other nominations? No, okay, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And next is item number 10, which is election of chair for this transport strategy group. Any nominations? Councillor
I
Arlott?
propose councillor Gavashak is prepared to stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's seconded by councillor Plant. Any other nominations? No, okay, let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 11 is election of the vice chair for the transport strategy group. Councillor Gavashak,
Can I propose councillor Arlott if he's willing to carry on?
do you accept the nomination, councillor Arlott?
Yeah, I'll go for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Should be
you.
some action taking place.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
Transport. No.
Seconded by councillor Plant. And any other nominations? No, I see none. So all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, let's move on to some plans. Let's move to item number 12, which is plans amended on page 15, please. Okay, the first item we have is P21 S4715. It's a fill application and it's for Badgemore Park Golf Club. Jodie.
The committee recommended approval last time, so I have no further comments.
Okay, thank you. Yes, councillor Plant.
I stand by the recommendation for approval that we made last time.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Gavashak, thank you. Would any other comment, would any other officer, sorry, councillor like to make any observations at all? No? Yes, councillor Hillier.
I can't see any plans, but I know about that one anyway.
Yeah. Just one thing, councillor Plant, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind just adding a condition to this. The tree officer has actually
Protection of
recommended
trees,
two conditions. Do you accept the amendments? Do you accept the amendments?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so all those in favour then? And are you abstaining? Yeah, okay, thank you. That's carried, thank you. Okay, let's turn to item number 13, which is plans new. And the first item on the agenda is P22 S1027. It's a householder application and it's for 13 St Mark's Road. Jodie.
There's an array of extensions and alterations along St Mark's Road with some roof lights and a few dormer windows. And it is located within the conservation area. So you should consider the impact of the proposal and the significance of the heritage asset, and great weight should be given to that conservation.
Can I just ask what
Yes.
the Wi-Fi connection is, because I can't see any.
Capital
plans. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's lovely. And then we're just
It's
going to
HTC
the town
gas.
council. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
I'll just wait.
thank you for that.
Okay, councillor Plant.
Recommend approval. It's minor, non-intrusive, and in keeping with the rest of the road.
Okay, you seconding?
Yeah.
Okay, would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. And next on the agenda item 13 is P22 S1279. It's a householder application and it's 8 New Town Gardens. Jodie.
Although it doesn't say in the description, this is a retrospective change of use from garage to studio. The conversion still leaves 2 parking spaces at the front. I have no objections, thank you.
Thank you. Councillors? Councillor Gavashak?
I propose acceptance of this. Yeah, I was looking on the plans for the parking, which it's a very narrow street, of course, and there must be parking for that particular property, and there is. So therefore, I propose acceptance.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor
Yeah, I'm
Arlott.
going to speak against this. Whoever knows New Town Gardens, there's as you go down from Harpston Road, there's a row of these garages on the left-hand side. Obviously, they were built for garages for the properties opposite. although some have been purchased over a period of time. But you know, my view is, you know, they were built as garages, they should be used as garages. And you know, once you allow this, you'll probably finish up with all of them. You'll have a change of use from a garage, and you'll have cars parking just about all over the place down that road. Well, it's a really rutted road, but you'll just get them parked everywhere. I really can't believe this. It's crazy, in my view anyway. But it's good if you can get away with it.
Mm.
Yes, we also have to be mindful because it is quite a narrow lane. Like the emergency services would be able to have to get down the lane because as it narrows, and if there are cars, and also like people living, was it Niagara Road, whether they then want to put a pitch roof on it and with things, and then it overlooks into their back garden and loss of privacy for those people living there.
Yeah, I do see that there is a neighbour that is extremely
Yeah.
concerned about their privacy. Yes, Councillor Hillier?
Yeah, I'm going to share the objection to converting a garage. We commonly used to complain about garages being converted because it does impact on traffic on the road. And whilst we are trying to get rid of cars at the moment, nevertheless, we have to accept that most households have at least one car, and it would be preferable to retain a garage.
Okay. All right, well, we do have a proposal for approval. It's been seconded, so let's put this to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Okay, that's fallen. So let's go for the new proposal.
Yeah, I'm going to propose obviously loss of car parking, but I think it's totally unneighbourly there as well, which the Deputy Mayor just mentioned. You know, you're going from a garage where someone's just going to pull in there once or twice a day to where you're going to have workshops in there where people could have come-ins and go-ins all the time. So it could affect the neighbours as well. So I would say unneighbourly and loss of car parking.
Yeah, overlooking privacy, yeah. Okay, right, is that seconded? I'll second that. Okay, so let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of refusal? Okay, thank you, that's carried. I did promise myself that I'd get myself some new glasses, but it's not from the time. Okay, so let's move on then to P22 S1333. It's a householder application. It's for 98 Vicarage Road. Jodie.
We had no objection. The new pitched roof would match the existing on the porch and have a detrimental impact on the character of the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillors, any proposals? Councillor Gavchak?
I propose acceptance of this. Yes, it is conversion of an existing detached garage, but there is parking, ample parking.
And the parking for the house as well.
Yes, so I propose acceptance.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
just
Councillor
against it. I think, you know, where they've had the internal garages, you know, which is obviously attached to the house, I think we can accept this. But you know, now we're having detached garages that are having change of use, and you know, this is getting crazy. We are. Anybody knows Vicarage Road around that area? God, you've got a job to park anyway. And you know, if there were to be more cars than two, you know, they're going to finish out on the road. So
Got a great bus service though. Easy walking distance to town centre.
we've got to tell people that, haven't we? So yeah, to me, it's just a loss of car parking.
Okay, Councillor Hillier.
Yeah, I don't mind this application, and I agree with the Henry Society comments that approval should depend on adequate parking being provided. And so.
Councillor Gavchak, do you want to speak?
Well, we can accept that as an addition if Lawrence will, but it's predicated on adequate parking on site.
Okay. Councillor Arlett, what do you think to that?
I think I'm voting against it.
Okay, all right. Well, would any other councillor like to speak? No. Okay, well, this has been seconded, this motion for approval with a condition. So let's put this to the vote. All those in favour of approval subject to condition? Yeah, okay. And against? Okay, thank you. That's carried. And the next one is P22 S1404, and it's a full application. It's Victoria House, 35 Queen Street. Jodie.
The proposals are relatively minor, shouldn't have an adverse impact on the unity of the neighbouring properties or the character of the streets in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any proposals? Councillor Plant?
Yeah, approval, very straightforward.
Okay, seconded. Councillor Clark, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. The next one is P22 S1448. It's a householder application.
How many garages have you got in there?
Clearly
Well,
too many.
I knew there was a few, that's why I got them quick.
This
Well,
is-
in the future, there will be a lot less.
This is 75 St Mark's Road. Jodie.
They received pre-application advice from SADC that said that the proposal would be acceptable in principle, subject to the appropriate assessment of impact on neighbouring communities and highway safety. They have provided plans showing parking can be provided. There's also been no objection from the forestry officer. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Kavashak.
Just a slight comment, there has been a comment from the forestry officer saying that we should, as a condition, include tree protection in whatever. So I propose acceptance with the forestry officer's tree protection comment.
Seconded by Councillor Plant. Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, all those in favour?
Change in town.
Thank you. That's
No
carried.
He goes with the wind, doesn't he?
Yes. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
There's garages and
Consistency of a real MP. yeah.
Just remind Councillor Clark, we've got a lot of appeals lately.
Okay, the next one is P22 S1460, and it's advertising consent for 12 to 16 Marketplace. Jodie.
Yeah, so a hanging sign would be preferred over a projecting sign, so it would be in accordance with the SADC design guide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, would any councillor like to put a proposal together for this one? Yes, Councillor Buckley.
Was that given that my flat was to be directly above that? The hanging sign makes a hell of a lot of noise when it blows in the wind.
It's unneighbourly.
Perhaps it just needed to be adjusted.
You're not dripping oil in it.
That's very confusing.
I'm proposing that you accept a projecting sign.
Okay, is that seconded? Projecting sign.
Oh, I think it looks smart. And I think we mentioned it at the end of one point last year that maybe we need to go back over the shop front guide and have a look at some of it, because we do have an inconsistency in the town centre of what's going on where it looks very smart. So I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak?
Just a quick comment that Councillor Buckley's sleepless nights are not worth sacrificing for the heritage of Henley.
It wasn't so much the sleepless nights, because we could sleep through the market, we could sleep through the super deliveries, but the signs is.
Earplugs.
Pardon?
Would any other councillor like to speak? Apart from what Councillor Kavashak just, was that, like, your observation was valid, right? You were a little bit jokey, but it's valid. You're actually
No,
making
I
a point.
will support this. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
No, it was totally joking.
Okay. Not quite sure. Yes, Councillor Arler.
Yeah, I've got no problem with the application. I think it's just a pity that there's not more retail going in there rather than other.
You can buy cinnamon swirls. That's retail.
Oh, they're lovely.
There we go.
Anyway, there we go.
But this is the thing, if we'd been, years ago, there was all experience about the meal bars and the coffee shops, and now we've got like bakeries everywhere. This
Yeah.
one pops up and then 3 or 4, but it's just the way it goes. It's
We're all going to
competition.
get rather large, I think, methinks,
I
in
don't know,
Henley.
well, am
Would if you open them?
Councillor Hillier.
No, I'm not going to support this because it goes against the SODC shop front ground. And I agree that there ought to be amendments made, needs upgrading, but as it stands at the moment, it's against it. So.
Okay, thank you. So a variety of comments there. Okay, well, look, we've got a motion which is for approval. It's been seconded. So all those in favour? Okay, and all those against? And are you abstaining?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So I have the casting vote. And of course, I'm refusing.
It was 4-3, wasn't it? Start.
4-3.
It was 4-3,
Hold
so
on.
it was carried.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
No,
Right,
no.
no.
4.
Four,
I was for approval.
Councillor Clark, what were you?
I voted against it.
Against. Okay, so
So it was.
so we could we let's do this again just to make sure. Okay, all those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. All those against? Ah, okay. You're definitely abstaining.
You like the cinema as well?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't.
Just try not to think about what the retail premises is, what's inside it. Let's just go for
the chair. You're in dangerous territory now. She's abstaining twice.
I know. Okay.
I'm voting for it. Sorry.
Okay, fine. It's carried then. No problem.
Okay, if you swing that way, it's great.
I don't like abstentions, as you know. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, that's carried then. But now they're all going to be at it now. I can just see the whole town just going mad for these sorts of signs. Okay.
So that would bring the SODC back aligned then. Because if you look at the character, and everybody has the same style of sign,
Yeah.
in which case everybody has to put one on. You're gonna have some that are projected and some that are hanging. We've already gone down on Bell Street where there's been people rejected shutters because they wanted to have an awning or vice versa.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have everything looking the same, but I don't think there's consistency in what's there already.
No, I don't know. I think it's pretty consistent.
And don't even start on swan legs.
Yeah. Perhaps we should make this the project, you know, a long-term project, because we have these debates all the time with these sorts of things. Perhaps we don't really want to add to the workload while we've got the neighbourhood plan running, but we definitely need to keep it in mind that we should really bring it up after the neighbourhood plan. Okay, let's move on then. We've got P22 S1483 is a householder application, and it's 23 Luca Avenue. Jodie.
Thank you. I've got no objection to the principle. It's proposed matching materials and it's set down from the existing dwelling. It shouldn't have an overly adverse impact on the immunity of the neighbouring property. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
I propose approval, Madam Chairman.
Okay, is that seconded? Councillor Gavrishak, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Yes, Councillor Crook.
As long as there's adequate parking provision, because if they're the other side of that loop road, it's quite chock-a-block, just so long as they're not losing any parking because of there's no parking at back that side.
Okay. Councillor Hillier.
Yeah, the neighbours aren't concerned by it. I know the Henley Society are worried about the future of the street scene if everybody had that. But I haven't personally got a problem with that.
Okay. Councillor Plant, did you want to speak?
Right, it's been said.
Okay. All right. Any other observations, councillors, before I put this to the vote? All those in favour of approval? All those against? Okay, thank you. Abstaining.
Sorry,
That's okay.
because it's not.
That's carried.
Vote's finished.
It's carried. All right, so we've got P. The next one we've got is P. In fact, I'll take the next two together if that's okay. We've got P22 S1504. It's a full application, and the next one is P22 S1505, and it's advertising consent for 6 to 8 Marketplace. Jodie.
I have no objection.
Thank you, Councillor Plant.
Approval.
Seconded by Councillor Gavrishak. Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, we're just grateful that HSBC is staying. All those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. They're staying and investing, which is a good sign. Okay, next one, P22 S1514. It's a householder application and it's 160 Grays Road, Jodie.
So yeah, they received pre-application advice as well. And there were some suggestions around the positioning of the carport, which has been implemented. So I've no objection. It's not within the conservation area or listed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
No, I think exactly that approval. It's good that they sought pre-app, and it's good that they rotated the carport around 90 degrees, moved it back. So I think they've followed it. So yes.
Okay, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Gavishak, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No, okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried.
It's a few more garage spaces back. We can lose a couple of others.
The spaces are already there.
And over the page, on page 18, we've got P22 S1546. It's a householder application and it's 71 St Andrews Road. Jodie.
I have no objection. Demolishing two conservatories and there's already garage at the front. So with adequate parking. So I have no objection.
Thank you. Councillor Grant.
Approval. Love to see another garage.
Garage.
No, I think this one is pretty simple.
There are. Seconding. Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried.
We've run them over.
And the next is P22 S1623. It's a householder application and it's for 53 Friday Street. Jodie.
I have no objection.
Oh, actually, apologies. Shall we just go together on these two because the next one is this listed building consent. So it's P22 S1624 listed building. Jodie.
I have no objection subject to the conservation officer. The archaeological officer didn't have any objections. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
Looking at it, I did, part of me thought, loss of outdoor space, but I mean, the outdoor space is negligible. It's absolutely tiny. It serves as a greater usable space, in my opinion. To provide the extension that they're looking at doing makes it much more usable space. So approved. Subject.
Seconded.
Seconded,
Thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? No? Okay, all those in favour subject to the conservation officer? Thank you, that's carried. Okay, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Oh, yeah. Right.
Objection.
Item 14, which is objections, call-in applications, please. Do we have any? Councillor
I
Plant?
think we could call in the garage studio application because Councillor Arlott felt so strongly on it. Go and talk about that.
Councillor Arnett, what do you think?
No.
Then none.
All right, any
I hear
others?
where you come.
Okay, thank you. None. And number 15 is decision notices. Decision notices are on pages 19 to 21. Noted, thank you. Thank you. And number 16 is appeal response, Town and Country Planning Act 1990, appeal against refusal. Jodie, did you want to speak to this before we talk about it?
We considered the proposal for 20, which is at appeal, the last committee. The comments we put forward were quite comprehensive, so I would just suggest you resubmit those unless there's any other comments the committee want to add.
Did you hear that, councillors?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Not personally.
Okay, so we'll just resubmit the same that we did last time. Yeah, okay, all those in favour? Okay.
Usual.
Yeah, we did, we put in, we put in some quite comprehensive comments to that one. And the next item on the agenda is 17, Neighbourhood Plan Committee. To consider the report and recommendations from the neighbourhood plan. This is pages 23 to 65. Is there anything in there that we need to push through on that? Hang on, let me just go on my page. Well, yes, if that's okay, is that okay with you, councillor?
Well, I
Because
think- I
Jodie's
think
written a
Jo- I think
report.
Jodie introduced that.
Yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, so this was resolved to recommend platinum by the Neighbourhood Plan Committee at the meeting last Wednesday. The Neighbourhood Plan's now reached examination stage, and as part of this, the examiner has requested a number of responses to questions on the Neighbourhood Plan draft. So the main clarification note, which starts on page 25, follows from the officer report. This is the opportunity for the examination to provide additional information to the examiner. Some of these questions show an indication of where the examiner is heading. So starting off with those main questions within that note, and then it follows on to the responses to the representations that were received as part of the last public consultation. So this includes responses from the site promoters and the district and county council. There's also appendices to that document, which includes site deliverability evidence. So recently we've gone to all the site promoters of land put forward in the plan, and they provided information on whether they were deliverable, and that we received quite positive feedback on that. I wasn't going to go through each of our responses to the questions, but if you have any comments, or just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Arlott, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just following up from there. There was a 4-page report or questions come from the examiner, saying it's 4 pages, but it was very positive. I think it was very positive, the response we got from the examiner, and that's obviously down to the majority of work that Jodie and Kath has carried out over the last 2 or 3 years. So I think he's shown recognition of the work that we've done to it, and but obviously had to ask some questions. And Jodie spent a lot of time on this. She worked the other weekend going through to give all the correct answers. So obviously thank Jodie again for that. The main thing I think was the original landowners have all now come back after being questioned to say that they will be submitting plan applications within the next 12 to 18 months. My view on that, if they hadn't have come back with that information, it's questionable if they could have been left in the plan. If they were going to come back and say 4 or 5 years, I think we may well have had to look for other land. So yeah, I think it's all very positive what's happening. Let's get this information back to the examiner and just take from there. Will we go through a referendum? Don't really know. I'd like to think we didn't, but I think we probably will have to. I don't personally think there's that, you know, we've made changes to policies which are fine, but I don't think there's massive changes personally that would warrant a referendum. But obviously that's not my decision. That will be along with the examiner and SODC. How that goes. So all that said, on page 24 of your report, there's a recommendation at the bottom, 6.1. It's recommended that the committee resolves that the response to the clarification note is submitted to the examiner. So I'd say move that.
Okay, seconded. Councillor Plant, thank you. Would any other councillor like to speak? Okay, let's put this to the vote then. All those in favour of 6.1 its entirety? Thank you, that's carried.
I'm sure they hinted that it will go to referendum because there are substantial enough changes.
SODC have stated that in there, and the examiner will now consider that.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next item on the agenda, which is item number 18, Town and Country Planning Tree Preservation Order, 22S11. This is to note the tree preservation order for a tree located on the eastern boundary of the property known as 18 Western Road. Okay, that's just to note that one. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment on that. Actually, there were some strange letters to the editor. I'm not sure if you all read them last Friday. 2 or 3 people were suggesting that the owner of the property should be allowed to cut the tree down. Well, that's the way I read it. And, you know, my view on this, you know, you buy yourself a property, it's like, you know, you buy yourself a listed building property and you buy problems. It's as simple as that. And you buy a property with a big oak tree, you know, 100 years old at the front of the property, and you don't just go there and cut it down, you know, and I think we should thank, was it Colin Braithwaite that brought it to everybody's notice? I think he's done a really good job there, and very disappointed the couple of 2 or 3 people that wrote to this Henley Standard suggesting that we should just go and cut any tree down that we wish to. I couldn't quite understand that.
Well, hopefully people like homeowners will start to understand TPOs more when they realise they're buying a property and there are TPOs. It'll be like, oh, I actually can't do that. Whereas for years they've just gone, well, chop them down and then apply later. So hopefully,
Okay, thank you. Right, just moving on to item number 19, which is funding for official notices for EV charging points. And this is to consider a report for funding for transport projects for the publication of notices for the parking order at Mill Meadows Car Park, pages 71 to 72. Kath, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Jane. As you are probably aware, back in December 2020, Recreation and Amenities Committee resolved to install core EV charging points in parking spaces at Mill Meadows and to arrange for the necessary traffic management order to enforce the charging days. Unfortunately, the budget wasn't allocated for the expenditure necessary to support this, these points. We had to put in a change to the parking order, one notification to say that we're looking to change the parking order, and then another one to say that we have changed it. And we have to advertise that in the local press and also on the London Gazette. So the first advert has been paid for out of some climate emergency funds that were left from the last financial year. And the request here is to take £600 from the budget that Planning Committee has for spending on transport related projects to cover the remaining notice that we'll have to put in the Henley Standard, and also a possible subscription to the London Gazette.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Plant.
I'll vote to approve 5.1 as written, but I just find a frustrating amount of money wasted on such a fruitless task. Just to, yeah, I guess it needs doing, but that's ridiculous.
It's expensive.
Councillor Cook and then Councillor Clark.
That's why we're advertising in the London Gazette, because I should know this, but I just don't. Why?
It's a condition. It's part of the traffic regulations. Yes, we have to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Councillor Clark.
All right.
My main concern is the vandalism that might go on down there, because there's a woman down there the other week had her car vandalised. They parked their cars there overnight, getting charged up.
Yeah, it's a separate issue. It's not a planning issue, that one. Yeah. Councillor Gavshak, did you want to speak?
Just second it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, any other comments, observations? Okay, all those in favour of approval? Thank you, that's carried. And last but not least, we get to our favourite item on the agenda, which is the progress report for applications called in. Councillor Wright, do you have any updates for
I've
us?
got absolutely no update on any of these,
Okay.
none whatsoever.
Mhm.
No, I can't help it.
Okay.
It's a bit of a worry actually, because some have been hanging around quite a long time. Saying that, there's an application going to planning on Tuesday, SODC, for 46 St James's Way, and that application is over 2 years old now. Why it's taken so long? Actually, I'll be asking the reason why. So yeah, that one's going to committee.
Yeah, the red line morals is also going to our committee as well.
Okay. All right, thanks for that update.